I was about tools which will be required to use in this exercise. So for Debian-based Linux distributions, you install it with standard package manager, and of course for more recent Ubuntu-based distributions you can also use a tool called just apt, not apt-get to install it. But for Microsoft Windows you need to install two parts. One is GNOME Toolkit libraries to support this GTK interface for graphical interfaces. So you download that one. And then you download this planner tool itself. Probably this one. And then you install it, and maybe actually I can show it how it looks in Microsoft Windows. Oh, maybe you will use virtual machine, I don't know. And it looks like it's installed here in Microsoft Windows. So, then you start this tool. So here you see this Gantt diagram where time is flowing from left to right and dependencies are from top to down. But, not here. But first thing you need to start here is actually to mention all your resources. And because this will be not publicly available, private, you can write actual names and surnames of your students, not these assigned names. And if you want, you can show here, customize this view and see different of fields for these structures. And here are these resources are two different types, work and material. What does it mean? These who can work, they can do work and they are not consumed during this work. But if you add something like, and you are not required in this practical exercise, but like material, then this material, first you need to have this material in storage, and then you can consume this material during this task. So these are consumables. These are things which can do something and are not consumed, but these which are material, these are consumed. And so here you will need to name all your team members. And then you may start thinking about actual tasks. And I will do here something like waterfall approach. That means here I'll create such task, and then let's say and this may be subtask of these, and then on here this also may be put as a subtask, like I don't know. Let's say, okay. How do I... And so then you can mention these tasks and mention subtasks, and by default each task is one working day. You may change it to something else, and then you add dependencies. And for example, for strict waterfall model, that would be something like this. In Microsoft Windows, it doesn't allow me to rearrange order of these tasks so easily. I cannot move up or move down. And you see here that these tasks are red for me, not blue. What is this red? I have highlighted here in settings. highlight critical tasks. What does it mean? Critical tasks are these tasks which influence entire length of the project. And for example, if I have following dependencies, and these two tasks may be done in parallel, concurrently, then that task which is longer is critical path because changing in length, for example, if it's behind schedule, influences when this entire project will actually end. And then there are other kinds of tasks like milestones. Milestone. These are milestones, ceļstabiņi, so you can check how you reached this milestone on time, or are you ahead or behind schedule or whatever. And also scrolling or zoom doesn't work for Microsoft Windows, so this tool is not behaving so well on Windows than on a native Linux operating system. So you need to count all these possible tasks, at least what you can see and imagine for now, and your actual challenge here will be following: that when you count all these tasks, you should plan that every of your team members has something to do during these next 2 weeks. So that means here, for example, for collect requirements, we actually, if I have 4 team members in my team, I actually need 4 activities going in parallel. How can I do it? Either here I need to split this in smaller tasks, like, I do not know. Do I need requirements for graphical design? I do not know. But I can do, for example, these 2 things in parallel. Okay, let's do it the following way. That and again, I cannot click here in Windows, but I can edit task and I can remove processor. And then I have 4 activities going in parallel. Let's say 1 day here for demonstration purposes. And I can assign that this guy will work on that. This guy will work on that. This guy will work on that. And this guy will work on that. And then when I look on resource usage, I see that all these team members have something to do. And if I just assign only 1 guy here to implementation, this poor coder which will do coding, then here in resource usage I see that only 1 has 100% workload and everybody else is looking here around and have nothing to do. And then of course you may modify in more details your tasks, for example about how exactly you describe dependencies. For example, processors may be type finish to start, but it can be also finish to finish, so they should be finish on the same time. Start to start, they should start on the same time, and start to finish. So then here, when we describe particular task, these tasks in general are described as a person hours or person days. So that means following: if I have some longer task here, like testing, and now you'll see 3 days. These are not 3 days in calendar then, but these are 3 person days, because if I edit task and I assign 3 persons doing it, you see that it automatically shrinks in time, because these 3 working days may be done in just 1 day if 3 persons are doing this. So this is also one of ways how can you describe that everybody has something to do here, but of course this is little bit poor design of your plan, or poor plan than this one, because when you will actually follow this plan, you will still need additional management how exactly these persons will be working on this testing without disturbing each other. So that means every time you add several persons doing the same task, this means your plan actually do not show everything. Your plan is just high level conceptual plan, because when Dacia, Jānis, Juris will start doing it, they still will need to do internal planning, internal management, to understand how exactly they can split this testing task into 3 parts. So you will get better score if for each particular task you will have only 1 assigned person, because that means your plan is more detailed. Remember, if we work with waterfall approach or V-model approach, we have to describe and plan everything, and then at least in theory even monkey could follow this plan. But if these monkeys still need to do their own project management inside particular task to understand how exactly they will do this, then of course you cannot say and claim that you just need to follow this particular plan. So, and then what may happen as well is following, that somewhere here, when you work in concurrent mode, we can... and then I started with this workload. Sometimes I'm not sure you will actually need it for this particular activity, but there is other tasks which are fixed duration. For example, in real construction and real engineering, you need to wait while your concrete hardens, while paint dries, etc. So adding more persons to this task will not make it shorter or other things. And if you have some fixed duration task, then adding more persons will not make it shorter. Only you will waste more person hours to this particular task. I didn't set it to fixed duration, sorry. I just named it. See, if this duration changes, we Then here we see that each of these person just does not full workload but 75%. And then when you start parallelizing things, what you also need to check that you have not planned for some person like here, actually everybody, they have to work more than 100%, and this is also bad because in general plans, especially for beginners, tends to be too optimistic and they usually lag behind schedule, not going ahead of schedule. And if you already plan for overtime, then probability is very big that you will not get everything done in planned schedule. So everybody should have 100% work to do, so no too much of waiting time doing nothing, but also everybody should have only 100%, not more than 100% things to do, that there is no already overtime planned into plan. And then what will be rated? First, it will be rated how detailed your plan is. For example, just one single task, many persons is not so good as more concrete tasks for particular team member. How many of these tasks you will develop for these 2 weeks. And of course it will be initial project plan, and because you do not have enough skills and experience, probability is almost 100% that you will not be able just to follow this plan. You will need to update it later to something else, etc. But all of teams have the same problem here. And for example here for project end, what we can actually do here, we can say that this milestone should happen in precise time, and so this end of next week is not as soon as possible but on fixed day. Then we need to remove this processor, and it should happen in fixed time. So your project should end on Friday 13 next week. And your plan should cover all these 2 weeks. If you are splitting hairs, of course, you may say that you have for Monday, today, you have to plan it only for afternoon session, because in this session we are still not working on this project yet, but it depends on how much details you can put into this project. So what will be checked? That you have covered entire 2 weeks. I have not covered entire 2 weeks yet. I can cover it very easily, but of course my plan didn't get any more details because of that. Only thing is that I have covered it. And actually okay, because it says Friday morning, I will change it to Saturday morning to be able. So I have covered the entire 2 weeks, but of course my plan didn't get any more details because of that. I just made it artificially longer. And then what will be checked is that you have good resource usage here, but not overusing them. And for example here we can remove this overusing here by removing this particular task, and our plan becomes much better. And then you will need to save it. And then you have to upload it into my website. So you open this link here, username student, password student007 with capital S. Then for some historical reasons, and it's not changed, requirement is that plan should be called with following mask, number of team, underscore and code name of this team. And for me probably code name could be underscore test. And then I have uploaded it successfully. So what you need to plan for today as well. First, because you are not in the same class, you need to establish a communication channel, and I think this is mostly done for you. As far as I can tell in this chat of Zoom, in this Discord you already have created separate channels for each of these three teams, and that of course is correct because one team shouldn't be disturbing other team when they are dealing with these problems. Then you also need to decide how exactly you will manage this project for entire 2 weeks. For example, with this planner, which is simplified Microsoft project. Oh, it doesn't go. Okay, so we open planner first and then open this file. So, if that would be done in following way, when I worked for Accenture a long time ago, such plans were put on shared folder of the project, and there also were plugins to update them with visual management system, etc. But probably you will not have easy reachable shared folder. You may use Git repository to store it there. But my experience shows that when you work in distributed Steam, web-based systems are best tools because you don't need to install anything and your project will not be so complicated and large that you wouldn't get things done using generic tools. And my recommendation is that, for example, here, you can't easily do copy paste here, at least last time I checked. But when you have created this initial plan, you can export it as a HTML file, and in this exported HTML file, of course, you can copy paste like this in some other tool. And my recommendation is that for complexity of your team, which will be 4 or 5 persons. You definitely just need to have a wallpaper or list of issues which need to be done, and then other which is done issues. And for such thing, for example, simple wiki page like this Etherpad scratch page is enough. You may try to use more specialized tools, and here these tools are mentioned, like GitHub Project Management, Google Documentations, Slack Project Management, Trello or whatever. And then you also need to establish a remote repository for everybody. And here is list of all these most popular ones which you may use. And of course you can still use this test server. You may decide, for example, that everybody uses this particular user, but I think it will be better and easier for you to use some more developer friendly tools for your collaboration. And all these tasks you also may put as subtasks or parts of your initial project plan as well. And that's in short about this activity. Do you have any questions or comments on that? Before that, I already know there should be numbers assigned to the teams. When you split into teams, how you already done? You know which is team like number 1, number 2 and number 3. Okay, then that's great. Then, as far as I can tell, you should be ready to start working on this particular activity. Do you have any other questions or comments? One other thing. Those of you who pay more attention to details regarding to planning, you may ask me what to do and how this will actually happen, for how exactly it will happen and what do you need to plan for example for these next 2 weeks about our interaction. And if you want to plan for it, of course you may ignore it. And then remember that plans may be very high level and many of details may be not included in these plans, and you may just ignore it, how exactly will work your teams with me together for this team. But if you pay attention to details, you want to get better score for this particular thing. What we know already is following, that twice in a day I will announce that I'm still alive in this Zoom session, and we may discuss some of reoccurring issues which may come up for these teams when you need to deal with different kind of technological issues. But because I don't know yet what exactly your platform is, this is just a template and guideline for these things. But you may plan already that we can spend like half an hour in morning session, half an hour for afternoon session to check for progress and discuss different issues we may need to discuss. So then you plan for this, like depending on how optimistic or pessimistic you are, how much time you can plan for wasting. Remember, project management in general is wasted time, but you waste this time in idea that other time outside this planning, your all team members will be more productive. So in general, you want to spend as less time on these planning and management activities as possible, but you should do enough that everybody knows what to do, how to contribute to the project. And so, depending on what your attitude is, you may plan, for example, half an hour for daily communication with the teacher, or up to 1 hour, definitely not more than 1 hour, because that means we are wasting too much time on communication and planning and reporting, not actual work. But if you ignore this, that also is okay, so that means your plan will not highlight everything. And then, as I told you, there may be some unplanned. Actually, one thing may be planned. You may plan and put some placeholder somewhere in the middle of probably next week for approximately half a day for these lectures or presentations from Accenture representatives, and these are called and this usually may take approximately 4 hours, and you can put it somewhere in middle of next week. Let's say here. You will participate in it in your team. And it should be fixed duration, 4 hours. And then of course here I have a problem, because here I had this artificially long task. Now here I have, why it's only 25%. Only tasks, sources, 100%. Why they show? Okay, I will do it as a work. %. And of course here, as in any tool, you have to get more advanced how to use it properly, etc. And then this work should be 16 hours. It's something like coding. I can't code it in a more proper way. I do this workaround to say that these are 4 hours spent for something else. And so here now, because I have not assigned anything, it's still not red. So that's one thing. You may plan for these daily meetings or not, and you may plan or not for these specialty track presentations. Also, you may or may not plan for weekends. In project properties, you may add here manage calendars, and you may add this weekend in between as a working day if you already plan working apply. Then you already plan that you will actually work on weekend. It is allowed, so you can add these 2 weekend days as a working days. And of course you may say that not everybody will work during weekend, but only some of team members. So that's also about some more details which you can put into this plan. Yeah, so that's also, and then Definitely, what is already known, that we will spend a little bit more time at the end of first week, which is this Friday, when we will check project midterm review. And for that you can plan approximately 2 hours would be realistic, maybe 3 hours, but so that is already known things. And then of course for finalization of this project you will have to do present your projects in the afternoon session of the last day in this class. So, and then of course if you plan very precisely in this last day we have this project presentation and evaluation and knowledge check in afternoon session, and knowledge check will take 1 hour. But then of course it will not be teamwork, it will be your individual exercise again. And then some unplanned things may happen, but you can't plan for unplanned things. Of course you can. One of the options is you adjust some placeholders and say this is task to deal with slipped schedules if something happens. So similarly as to coding, if you look on project planning, technically there are different ways how you are coding or encoding these activities in your particular plan. And of course there will be well-designed plans where these things are well coded inside it and not so well. So I think this probably will not be needed. I will see it from your plans. So no need to do double bureaucracy here. And I think that's it from me. Do you have any questions or comments?